Hey everybody, what's up? It's me, John D. Villarreal, the four-time national champion, the super genius, and the game god. And I'm joined by my nephew here, Matthew. And this guy is really into games as well, okay? Now, he's not the game guy. He's not this kind of level right here. But for 12 years old, this guy plays some serious game. And we get a lot of gaming on that PS4. We hit the Destiny. We've been hitting that D1 before, strong. Hitting the Nightfalls, all that type of stuff, the raids. And now we're talking about Destiny 2. I wanted to bring this guy in here for this review because we need, the JDV opinion, but we also need this kid Matthew opinion. Let's start off with you, okay?
All right.
You've been playing a little bit more on the D2. I've
Yes.
been on the D2. We just hit the D2 and we have some footage that we're going to bring you. How do you feel about this game in comparison to D1? What are the pros and cons?
So I think definitely a major pro is the fact that there is a much better storyline. You seem to interact more and you kind of get to know the Destiny universe more through the sort of Gaul experience, fighting him and the Cabal.
I love that story, and like you said, it's actually pulled together. It makes sense now. It's something that you can grab onto and really kind of have fun with and stuff. So I thought that was good. Do you like now the new upgrade situation with the weapons? I see there's pros and cons there.
Yeah, so what I like is that you definitely get upgraded much higher. You don't get debunked a lot. And I like the new +5 energy mods. The different mods that will add more damage. But the problem that I don't like with D2 rather than D1 is the fact that you can only, infuse weapons of that same kind to get better.
Yes, in some ways it's easier, in some ways it's harder.
Exactly.
Overall it's easier. What I do like is that it's much easier to infuse and upgrade your exotics.
Exactly.
That's huge. Because these are the weapons that everybody really wants in the armor and stuff like that. So now this makes it a lot more flexible in that respect, and I think that's a really good thing. I also like that it's sort of easier to buy things from Xur with the legendary shards. So once you're up to a certain level, it sort of makes sense. Travel a little faster, a little easier. It kind of took away a lot of negatives. And the from D1, I think that Bungie listened to a lot of that feedback, and it's really, really good. So you get in many respects, it's the same thing that we saw before, but that's really a good thing because even though Destiny, as all games, had its limitations, it was so replayable it wasn't even funny. I play that game, we'd go off, we'd do other games, we'd come back to it, and so on and so forth, because the combat mechanics are outstanding. Now you have improved customization with all the weapons and the shaders and different things. You can do a lot of different things. There's a lot more interaction. The expansion, I thought, with the Osiris was really, really cool, and getting that lore and backstory and stuff like that. And I do like the way that you have much more levels of your mobility, your resistance, your recovery, and it can really make a difference in those jumps and stuff like that. So I think it's a really fun game. I wasn't sure, because I was so Destinied out, I wasn't sure oh man, I'd gotten these other games for the holiday and stuff, and finally, okay, the D2, got into my possession and stuff like that, and so I was like, okay, let's play this game, let's see what's going on. And the more I play it, the more it's like, this is good, we see the limitations, but man, it's a playable game, and it's just fun to get in there and get those good guns and rack them up. And once you have your character dialed in the way you like it, because some people like hand cannons, I've always hated them. Some people like the scout rifles, but once you have that set up, for me, I like the subs and I like the auto rifles. I've always liked the auto rifles, so now they're a really strong class. So once you have that character lined up the way that you want to, it just flows, and it's just fun to go on the strikes. It's fun to go on the raids. It's fun to do that type of stuff. Now I haven't touched this raid yet, and I need to hit some Nightfall. So we're going to look to do some of that. But I'd say overall, where would you put this game? How would you rate it on a 1 to 10?
I think I put it at a 9.5.
Wow, strong.
I know, strong, but the only reason I'm not going to 10 is because, like you mentioned, the replayability, but when you get into it, and all, the missions are done with, and you've kind of completed those side missions, unlike, D1, that seemed to have a little bit more immersement when you finished everything, while many things weren't as strong. I feel that in D2, you don't seem to be as immersed when you finish those side quests and when you finish with all those different characters.
You know, it's an interesting thing, right? I mean, I look at it a little bit differently. I would give this game like an 8.5, and the reason I'm giving it an 8.5 is because I think in some respects, like, let's say, you know, Destiny, like if Destiny were to drop now, you also have to look at things at a time, and you know, I don't know what I rated it then, but if they were to drop right now, I would probably give it an 8. But maybe not, maybe that's not quite right. But an 8 to an 8.5, I'll get that. But here I think it's an 8.5 to a 9. An 8.5 because it definitely has clear improvements over D1. A 9 because it has that replayability. To me, this isn't the best way I can describe Destiny is, or Destiny 2 for that matter. It's not the kind of game where it's like, oh my gosh, that was one of the best games I've ever played. That was so amazing. This scene, this part, this whatever was so good. You just have to play it. If you're a gamer, you have to try it because it's the best or one of the best. It's one of this that blew me away. But it's the kind of game that you just keep coming back to because it just works. And it's fun to play with your buddies. It's fun to play with your friends. And it's like, you know what? I got 10 minutes to kill. I'm in between studying. I came home from work. I did this. I did that. Let's hit a strike. Let's hit a nightfall. Let's just do something quick. Let's talk some trash. Let's get the clan together. Let's do something like that. So from a value perspective, it's really, really strong. And you have to respect that. But, you know, in terms of gaming, playability, gaming craft, the lore, and all that type of stuff, like I got through, and I'll do a review on Wolfenstein 2, very strong. And that, as a standalone game of the single-player campaign, is much stronger, in my opinion, than Destiny 2. But Destiny 2 is the game that I didn't keep playing and keep playing and keep playing, as opposed to the Wolfenstein. So I think that hopefully makes some sense. Do you agree with some of that commentary?
I agree with you, but I also think that Wolfenstein is made to be a single-player game. Mm-hmm. Like, that's kind of what it's angled towards. It's sort of made to immerse you in sort of that, you know, I guess, what you're doing.
And see, for me, different games are different things. If you're doing a role-playing game versus strategy game, for me and my grading, to have that super strong gaming score, for me, you need to have that super strong single player and the super strong multiplayer aspect. There really shouldn't be any reason why you can't have both. We've seen some games that step up or are able to do both. There is no reason, especially for a game like Destiny 2, where the mechanics are exactly the same. It's not like the multiplayer is playing differently than the single player in almost every respect. We see sometimes with some of these games where, like, single player gameplay is one way, the multiplayer kind of plays out a little bit of a different way and different leveling. Like you have the exact same character, the exact same leveling, the exact same combat mechanics. There's no reason why it couldn't step up, and they did, to their credit, step up significantly in terms of the story, in terms of all that type of stuff. So if we saw more of that, I think that it would be an interesting thing. So anyway, that's my thinking on it. I'm giving it 8.5 to a 9 for those reasons. We got a stronger score here with the 9.5. You let us know what you think. Give us comments below. Please subscribe. Please rate this video up. Also, please post it on your social networking sites. Thanks so much for watching. I'm John D. Villarreal, the 4-time national champion, the Super Genius, and the Game God. This is Matthew Villarreal. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.